morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the Ashes to Rubies podcast, life and recovery, and so much more. Live stream podcast. We're surrounded by plants. We have more plants than we've ever had. How many plants is like a normal amount?
Well, it depends if you're a plant person or not a plant person. Because I don't know that there's.
I think there's a normal amount. Like same as pets. Like I think maybe 2 pets is like I would say a medium. Like I don't want to condemn anybody for having 15 cats.
No, but you're either a pet person or you're not a pet person.
But I think people can go extreme and have like 5 dogs or 18 dogs or like 6 cats. Like, I think two pets would be a normal.
Fine.
Maybe a dog and a turtle.
No, I don't think that there is
there's no limit
or a wrong. I don't think there is a wrong.
I think we're getting to a limit of plants. I've been noticing, but we haven't been killing them. Maybe that's the difference, is that they're actually staying alive. Mm-hmm. Maybe we're getting healthier and everything around us is getting healthier. Maybe.
Plants are very different than animals, though.
Have you ever killed an animal? No, you were saying that they're... Don't get me going on rats. You're saying that animals are more resilient than plants. Plants are more fragile. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying they're not the same. Like, a plant is a plant.
I think it's more acceptable to have more plants than animals.
Yes. That's
what I'm saying. How many plants? Like, if I brought a plant home for you again, would you be like, oh, yes, I love this plant?
And then I'd say, honey, I need a floating shelf in my office.
Oh, so you would just make adjustments for new plants.
I'd like to get rid of that picture and put up a shelf and put plants on it.
Help me. I like plants.
I knew Karen would chime in.
The same as the next person. You can't have Karen. Karen swears that you cannot have too many plants.
And others will agree with her. And then others will chime in and say that they can't keep plants alive.
When I go to Karen's house, there is lots of plants. Mm-hmm. And there's lots of different kinds, and they're very manicured. They're something to look at. They were like a collection.
They are.
Which is nice to look at. Like a collection of anything is nice to look at.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a collection of anything?
No.
We grew up though.
So I was going to say that I think that what people realized during the pandemic time is that the reason they can't keep plants alive is because they were never home.
Okay,
and
but
that's what happened with us. That's what's changed.
But you're always like, a plant doesn't need you to be attentive to it every day. Like a dog needs food every day. I don't see the reasoning behind that.
I think we were home a ton more and paid more attention to the plant.
Maybe that's true.
It started with one. So we paid more attention to
the plant. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down here now.
7.
And a fake one.
There's 7 down here.
7.
Yeah.
I see. Oh, yeah. And you know what I'm worst at?
I have 3 in my office.
That's getting it.
Counting?
No, the worst is the ones I had struggle with the most are and it's probably some psychological thing, the ones that you don't water. Like the succulents, is that what they're called?
Yes.
Oh, I've killed more of those by watering them. Like, I just feel like it needs water. I sneak it some water. Then I kill it.
So you'd be very good at propagating plants.
I haven't done that one yet. But we grew up in a different era than, no, maybe it's true with all eras, but collections. Did you ever have a collection? I had collections of everything. Like I had a stamp collection. I had a butterfly collection at one point. We grew up in Asia. And a hockey card collection, coin collection. Mm-hmm. I had, and I reminded myself at dinner time, I had a Smurf collection, like little Smurfs. I had 6 of them.
6 is a collection.
Yeah, like we have a collection of plants, a minor collection. That would be
so I had Barbies, and I had
you had dolls,
toy horses at some point. And I had more than one.
Yeah. So when
I wasn't collecting them.
When do toys go beyond a collection? I didn't collect Lego. I had Lego.
Right.
But you have a collection of dolls. You still do.
That's my grandmother's collection.
You stole? Well,
no.
You gotta rest her soul. All right. Thanks for what collection do you have? I know my friend Karen has a plant collection. What do they, Megan? What do they collect out in BC?
I'm more interested in BC's weather right now.
Our weather's beautiful.
It's sunshiny. I appreciate that about March, is that it gets bright and sunshiny and milder.
Time change,
Mm-hmm.
killing us.
Mm-hmm.
I can use that time change for a month and just like sleep in.
What did Karen say?
I slept in today. Me growing basil and cooking herbs, John, that takes something. Thank you for the acknowledgement. That does take something. That takes care. That takes precision. I'm at a point now, though, because I've relaunched the water garden.
You had a basil tree.
I had a basil tree
that I couldn't even get into.
It was beautiful.
Cut the leaves off.
But here's my quandary now. I have to look it up. All the root systems are all attaching to itself. So I'm wondering if you cut the root systems back. I wonder if anybody has any experience on that. I know I can go to YouTube, which I will. But if you had anything to chime in right now, that'd be perfect. All right, here we go. Our morning meditation, March the 15th. When I started the Al-Anon, the 12-step program, my journey of health, my journey of stop playing God, I thought of the meetings only as a place where I could unburden myself of my troubles. Blech, puke on everybody. But I soon learned that complaining about our oppressions and indignities only makes them loom larger and more disturbing. This became clear to me when I heard other members monopolizing the time and the attention of the group with indignation, woeful recitals of the alcoholic's misbehavior. I see this was not working the program. I am learning to put the shortcomings of others out of my mind and think constructively about putting the 12-step ideas to work in my life. Today's reminder, I go to the 12-step fellowship to get rid of self-pity and resentment, not to increase their power to destroy me. I go to learn how others have dealt with their problems so I can apply this wisdom to my own life. Quote of the day, I ask God to keep me from magnifying my troubles by harping on them continuously. There's a lot there.
Oh, I've been that person.
No, like I was never, like in meetings, I was always scared to talk, so I never talked. I just listened to people. And I remember hearing people. There was one girl, 3 years sober, no kidding. She had trouble taking a bus because her and the bus driver always fought. And I'm like at a rehab center at a homeless shelter, and I'm hearing this, and I'm like, well, this doesn't sound hopeful. Like I
fight with the bus driver.
Yeah, like every time I'm like, and so yeah, I was shocked at hearing other people's troubles like that. But you can relate to. I call it like vomiting on the group, like just getting it out. Yeah. Leaving, like what we think is we leave all our problems at the group, but this is suggesting that actually doesn't work. You're just rehashing.
I just need to vent. Well, what happens when I vent is I'm raising my adrenaline levels and I get more and more and more worked up and I get deeper into the story. And then
you actually get
it grows legs and horns and a tail.
Cool.
I thought you were going to keep going. Sorry.
No. No, that's interesting that you're like, I wonder if that's just more of the Al-Anon perspective now that I'm thinking about it. But I think that's people in general. And I don't think there's anything wrong with sharing our problems with certain people that we have nominated in our lives as spiritual people that are walking with us. That are on the same journey. But even when it comes to like the story, I try to get everybody out of the story. Like, it's just like, okay, I don't want to hear this. I understand that there are traumas and tribulations and all of that stuff. When we go through inventory in LifeLab, there's always a resentment. Any resentment is because a part of myself has been harmed or threatened. And it always starts with, I'm angry at this person. And then they get into the story. And what we've been doing is like, okay, let's get out of this story and go, what's the concept? Oh, this person has backstabbed me. Like, we don't need that. We don't need to hear the whole story, but like, here's just what's the concept of what's happened to you. And so when we go to 12-step meetings, like it's not productive to puke on everybody because it doesn't actually help. It kind of makes you feel better for the time being. But right here it says, I ask God from keeping magnifying my troubles by harping on them continuously. Harping on my troubles. So what is that? What's that? What does that look like? Harping on them.
Repetitive.
Repeating them to just in meetings, or just repeating them in my head to other people.
I think if you're repeating it out loud, you're repeating it in your head.
And you're repeating it to other people.
I think it's probably just as destructive if you're not a person who shares openly in a meeting. To be doing it in your head is going to have the same effect. Because
if you're doing it in your head, it's going to come out in
somewhere
with other people.
Yeah,
and then
maybe it's coming out
gossip
before the meeting. Maybe it's coming out to someone after the meeting, or in your own personal life. But I think if it's happening in your head, it's going to come out somehow.
So then how do we get through this? Like, how do you, like, when you're overwhelmed, when a person is overwhelmed, especially in early recovery, there is so much going on. And, like when I look at our little 5-year-old friend, like they're everything is so extreme. Like every situation, it's like, you just got, like, somebody took a toy away from you. Like, this is not worthy of a meltdown. There's other toys. But in early recovery, we were very much like that. So then how do we get out of that? How do we stop harping on the troubles?
Well, and I think that's why early if you start working a program and you're working with someone, that's why we start learning meditation. And so we learn to, like, be still. We learn to quiet ourselves. And so for me, it was pause and ask. Pause and ask.
That's good. So I get to give my troubles to God, and then I'm not harping on them from the world around me. That's the shortened version. Karen says, bring your message to the meeting and your mess to God and your sponsor. Oh, good one, Karen. That's a beautiful one. That's where we'll just stop there. That is where we need to find our comfort from God and not from vomiting on the people in the meeting. So how do I stop harping on my troubles? I give them to God. I ask for his power over my troubles, and my troubles are never on the outside.
And I think it's frustrating for people to hear, like, that's the answer, but try it. Like, actually trying it. Pause.
Just try
and ask.
And like the meetings,
it's
like
amazing.
I have a friend that I just recently talked to, and he goes to a meeting every day, and he did a little bit of a relapse. And I said, so are the meetings keeping you sober? And he laughs. He's like, nope, obviously not. And he's like, well, what am I missing? And I just said, you're missing helping other people. Like, you're just adding recovery to your life already. Like, go and try to be of service to other people, and having that responsibility to actually tend to other people. I got a job in early recovery at a care home for guys with mental illness. And it's like, I remember there was moments where I wanted to go use, but then I'm thinking, like, how would I show up to work all like, ugh? Like it would be impossible to do that. And I wanted this new light. So I think part of giving my troubles to God and stop harping on them to the world around me is like being a service to other people, and just asking God, like, where do you want me to be a service? So we leave you with that today. Stop harping on your troubles. Take them to God. Take them to therapy. And be of service. Yeah, be of service to God and to the people around you. All right, have a great afternoon.